Welcome to Graphic Policy Television, GPTV. I'm Brett. We've got the latest expansion for Wizkid's Dungeons & Dragons Attack Wing, the Young Black Dragon. So for those who don't know, Dungeons & Dragons Attack Wing is a miniature game where you go and you build an army based off of these pre-painted figures. You battle out over scenarios against your opponents, and you know, it's a miniature game. It's the best way to describe it. It's nothing too fancy. So Wizkid has been putting out tons of different expansions. There's usually goes in about waves of 3s. This latest wave has been interesting in that the actual releases have been kind of spread out over a couple of weeks. They haven't all hit at once like they usually do. So Young Black Dragon expansion pack, expand and upgrade your attack wing game. The Vithala, the Young Black Dragon, has always preferred to go her own way. In fact, she fights much better when there is no so-called allies getting in her way. She prefers to pick off her enemies from afar with a stream of acid breath, hoping to dissolve their weapon before they even have a chance to draw them. As the sneaky dragon approaches her enemies for close combat, she darts and weaves, seeking an opening with which to catch her hapless enemies off guard. Although not the most courageous fighter, Vithala knows that there are often opportunities to defeat a more powerful enemy. When faced with such a foe, she is sure to cast a true strike spell that will allow her to hit her enemy where it will torment them the most. So we can expect a figure who's probably going to do some attack from a distance and then some maneuvering so that you can get in there and hit your opponent where you need to. So let's crack this open. Of course, we're going to show off the figure like we always do, and then the various cards that come with the figure itself. Now, I will say the figure reminds me a lot of the adult Black Dragon that's already been released. Very similar sculpt, except just a miniature version. Shocker on that. It's alright. Getting the figure out. Very, very tiny. Very cool figure. I mean, it's... Let's see if you can see... If we can get it to actually focus the way we need it to show off the figure. The thing that I notice particularly about it is the coloring on the figure itself. The wings are really, really impressive. There we go, we can see it now. Really, really impressive with some fantastic coloring. It looks like some dry brushing on it. It's kind of hard to see on the camera, but it's like a greenish color. I want to say out of all the dragons they've released so far, this might be my favorite as far as the sculpt. The face is pretty solid with it opening up. Be kind of hard to see due to the size of it. The face is, you know, it's decent. It's just a nice, for all this, it's just a great sculpt. The painting on this one is pretty decent. There's a little mess up on this particular one with its claw in the right-hand side. But overall, like a really nice job by Wizkids. Unfortunately, the leg popped off, but that doesn't look like it's a difficult thing for it to fix. So, while there was a minor issue, it was easily fixed. Alright, so let's throw this on the base, and then we can actually get to the cards itself. Other thing I'll notice is that this is on a small base. Not a large base like we see for a lot of dragons. Alright. Going over the tokens for this expansion in an extra tight packaging that really makes it somewhat difficult to get them out. Alright, of course we've got the movement tokens and some countdown tokens in the base. Pretty much basic tokens over here. And then we've got something with turn strike and ambush. Two things that were kind of, or true strike and ambush, which were two things that were mentioned or hinted at with the character. Alright, so, you know, obviously it's a young Black Dragon, so the point should be much less. Not quite to the extent that I thought it might be, but it's still pretty cheaper. So pretty much a lot cheaper than a lot of the other dragons out there. For 21 points, for the lower level of the two, it's level 4 Black Dragon, young Black Dragon. You get 2-2-3-1, and then we get 2-3-3-1 for 28 points. The older also is when attacking another dragon, Vuthala, whatever the hell the name is, may add 1 hit result during the modify attack dice step of combat. So you're basically getting a hit for the 28 points, which is not that bad. At 2 attacks, though, it's a little bit weak. You're definitely going to have to amp it up, taking advantage of the weapons for dragons. So we've got 1 melee, so not really all that great distance going forward. 2 tail melee, a little bit better behind, but still not as strong as you would kind of hope, or cheap as you would hope. Movement, though. Flight, got 4 movement forward. You have a red, a lot of white, and some green. Some solid movement because you can reverse at 1 or reverse at 3. Something you normally see with dragons on the ground, as we can expect. Movement is pretty weak, but that's pretty much standard for all dragons in this game. Going through, we've got an arcane spell called True Strike. So you place 1 timer on it. During your next attack, you may choose any number of your attack dice and re-roll them. Afterwards, you may convert all of the concentrate results into hit results. After that attack ends, you must remove your True Strike effect token from play and discard this card, a cost of 2. So basically, if you're rolling pretty that's something that might help with you. To get the hits that you want to see. So we talked about in the description, talked about how it kind of looks for a proper place to hit its opponents. That plays off of that with that ability. One thing really looking at this is all the cards that come with it are pretty cheap. These are not meant to really amp up your dragon a whole lot. So we've got a campaign artifact of Amulet of Health. You have +1 health value. Cost is dragon's printed health value -2. So with a health value of 3, this will cost this dragon a whopping 1 point, and you're getting an extra health. So you can get 4 health for just 1 point more. So at 29 points or 22 points, you get a 4 health dragon, which at that point, we're talking some decent ability to stick around. We've got Acid Breath, not really much different than any of the other Acid Breaths we've seen throughout the game. I'm not going to go through that because it's a pretty common card. Next up, for 2 points, we've got Loner. It's a special card. When attacking, you may roll +1 attack die if there are no friendly creatures within range 1 to 2 of you. Must be a young black dragon to equip for 2 points. Again, fits in the flavor in the description of the character and the young black dragon itself, so they're playing with the flavor really well. I will say Wizkid does an excellent job of using all that information from Wizards of the Coast Dungeons & Dragons game to really kind of build off of and create a fantastic world that just fits the role-playing game itself. Next up, we've got Ambush. We got when performing an action, you may disable this upgrade, place 1 timer on it. All creatures roll -1 defense die against your attacks. So we've got that. It's clearly plays off that whole trying to find the great place to hit. Then finally, we've got Dissolve. During the combat phase, you may target 1 creature that was just damaged by your Acid Breath. That creature must discard 1 artifact or upgrade of its choice. So the ability to get rid of their upgrades. We've seen that a lot in recent releases. It's very welcome to be able to hit the other players and kind of get the upgrades. So now we're looking at a creature whose really goal is to survive for a while, get in there, and just damage your opponents to get, not necessarily actually kill the opponents, but to just get rid of their upgrades to give your other creatures and for the rest of your force just a better chance to attack and do some damage. Definitely a very interesting creature. We'll see how much it is used in the gameplay. It's one that I would consider putting it into my force. If nothing else, if it's a cheap dragon, so you got some good maneuverability, and I think its abilities sound very interesting and could be handy in in some league play that we're seeing, or some of the big tournaments that are going on. Thanks for watching. This has been Graphic Policy Television. We've been going over the Young Black Dragon release for Wizkid's Dungeons & Dragons Attack Wing. You can, of course, catch all our other videos going over the various releases. We've covered every single one so far, and we pretty much plan on doing so until the end. You, of course, catch us every single day at graphicpolicy.com. Of course, we're on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, all at Graphic Policy. We keep it nice and consistent. Until next time, thanks for watching. Keep rolling those die and keep it geeky.